Well, you all are pretty committed to be here on a Saturday morning. It's a beautiful day, and you're here, and that's a privilege for me. And I want to just really let you know as we get started that I've been doing this kind of work for 38 years. So I went to the University of South Florida. Just a little bit about me. I played college golf there, and I thought I was going to be a professional golfer. And I don't know if any of you play golf or a sport, or you were sang or acted or had this dream of someday being a star, you know. And then at some point you realize this is not going to happen the way I have it planned. So what am I going to do? And I found this company. I found the financial world, and I found I was really touched the first day I was ever at an interview or meeting when I was asked a very simple question. And this is kind of how I got involved in this business. Is they said, you know, we go to school. I want y'all to think about this. We go to school, the whole day is going to be built on what I'm going to say right now, okay? We go to school, and we get math, and we get science, and we get English, and we get history. What course don't we get? So we're here on a money meeting, right? So we don't generally get a course in personal finance. We don't get taught about our money. Right? I'm curious, how many of you ever had a class, you know, other than a Dave Ramsey course, okay, on money and personal finance, like a curriculum, maybe 6 months actually at a school where you were taught about your money, about mutual funds and stocks and bonds and investing and insurance and mortgages and debt and budgeting and wills and planning and the magic and power of compound interest and time and all of that. How many of you ever had a class on that? That's, yes? No. Yeah, so think about it. So the question, no one had that class, right? Me neither. And then now how many of you remember taking algebra? Not remember algebra, just taking algebra? And who uses, is there anyone in the room that actually uses longhand, the algebra we learned all those years? You actually use that day to day? Is there anybody? I hope there's somebody. Not one. Usually I have a teacher or an engineer. No. So isn't that funny that we get taught all these courses, but we don't get taught, but how many, so none of us use algebra, but how many of you use money every single day? And we never got taught about it. So that was the initial conversation that intrigued me to say, what is this all about? And so I kind of dove in, and I just wanted to understand it. And then I realized that that so many people that talk about money and finance talk about it in a way where I don't have any idea what they're saying. And so I would shut down, and I would be confused. And so I made a decision that I wanted to be like Remedial Money 101. Like I wanted easy, simple. So today is about that, okay? Today is about you. And if you've got a question, you should raise your hand, because I promise you, if you've got it, other people have it. And this is just going to be a fun day, okay? And so I have a lot of material. I'll get a sense on how much you can handle. We won't go more than probably, we'll take a little break in the middle if it's needed. This stuff, the hardest thing with what we're going to do today is it's easy to kind of fog out and get into your life during some of the conversation. So I'm going to do my best to ask a lot of questions, and I may pick on some of you to keep you awake, okay? Is that fair? All right? So we're going to talk about money and personal finance, and as Bishop said, today is really about education. We're going to talk about a lot of subjects, and actually the PowerPoint that I'm using, and you may or may not be able to see it all, but the PowerPoint that I'm using is a booklet actually called How Money Works. And as a gift, you each, if you signed in when you came in and you put your email, we're going to send you this PowerPoint will be sent to you in a booklet form. It's about 50 pages. And everything I explain to you will be explained in detail. So if you don't get something here today and you don't want to raise your hand, I promise you, if you want to learn later, you'll be able to do that, okay? So you'll be able to take this information with you, okay? And my goal today is that this has enough value that you'll tell other people about it, and then that we get invited to come back. Okay, so that's my goal. Because what I know is that if I'm able to help and serve and make a difference in your life, blessings are coming back to me, so I'm fine with that, okay? So that's what today's about. There's, like Bishop said, there's nothing, you can't buy, you can't sign up, you can't do anything today but ask questions and take notes, all right? All right, so I'm privileged to have an agency of currently 2,000 licensed people, and so I have done a lot of training for the company. Our company is a international company, and so I've gotten to do this kind of meeting a lot. I do sometimes groups of this size or 2 people, or I've spoken to 40,000 people regarding this kind of information. Generally, my goal is to educate and motivate and inspire and provoke people to take action in their life. I mean, that's because we can give you this information all day long, but if when the meeting ends, you don't kind of take it to the next step, it will almost be like you were watching a fitness training all day. And if you watch fitness training all day, you'd know about fitness, but then to get fit, you have to do what? You have to take action. So my request of you today is to find a couple of ideas here that you make a decision that you're going to take action on that will improve your life, okay? So I'm going to dig in. We're going to get started. And so here's the first, so if you'll go, so there's the booklet that you're going to get. It's called How Money Works. And we're going to talk about a lot of subjects. So if you, I don't have a clicker, so I'm just going to kind of pretend I do. So if I do that, then you'll know to go, okay? So, all right, so here's the thing. You can get out of debt, you can build savings, and you can get on the path of financial independence. So how many of you would say that debt is a concern for a lot of people in our country today? Big challenge. How about the ability to accumulate money? How many people would say that's an issue? Okay, so if I said to you the word financial independence, and I asked each of you what that is to you, we would get a different answer from every one of you. So I'm just kind of curious. Financial independence, what is your definition? What would some of you say? What would financial independence be? Like if I said, what does financial independence mean to you, what would that, yeah, this is the audience participation part. Yes.
Having your bills paid and not having to go back to work.
Having your bills paid and not having your bills paid and not have to work. Okay, that would be that's a good one, right? All right, so we'll talk about that. There's a way to do that, by the way, yes. Having your money work for you. You know, all our lives we work for money until one day, hopefully, our money can what? Now, I'm actually going to say it differently. I'm going to say it can work instead of us. Okay? So we work for money. So we're actually going to, so what else? Give me another, that's a great one. What else? Any other? Yeah. Access to everything. So having enough where, I'll give you an example. When I was young, we grew up around people with money, but I never had any. My family was divorced young. We lived kind of on the other side, but I was around kids that had it. And I'll never forget when I went to the restaurants, I always learned to read the menu from the right to the left. Right? So you go down, you see what the prices are, and everything under $10 was in play, right? Hot dog, right? So I had this dream of, wow, what if I could actually go to a restaurant and read the menu from the food and then not even look at the price to say, I want that, right? So I like that. That's a good one. What else? Anybody else? Yes. So being in control where you're not making decisions based on outside sources, you're in charge. Okay, yeah, you guys might want to grab the mics for that. So you want to be in control of what you make, okay? So that's financial independence for you. Got it, okay. Yes. Oh, you're passing the mic. Okay, so let me give you a simple definition. Financial independence, we ask it this way. We say, do you know your financial independence number? Do you know your number? So the number would represent the amount of money that you would need to accumulate so that someday you could quit working and be able to live off that money for the rest of your life and never have to go back to work. That's that number. How many people do we know that retire and then they've got to get a part-time job to supplement the money that wasn't enough, right? So financial independence is an amount of money or assets that generate income for you. It could be stocks, it could be bonds, it could be mutual funds, it could be real estate, it could be cash in the bank, okay? But that money, that asset is enough to generate income where you don't have to work if you choose not to. That's the definition of financial independence that we came up with, all right? So how many of you would agree that would be okay if you had that, right? Good goal. So we all want that. So as we start, if you go to the next slide. So as we start to look at this, we have to look at what gets in the way of that. And that's what we have to start to look at. What is the track to get there, and what are the simple ingredients to get there? And that's all we're going to talk about today. And it's so basic and simple, it may appear ridiculous, but that's why it's so important. Sometimes the simplest things we overlook. All right, so first thing it says, take control. So if you go to the next one. Are we on the, okay, there we go. So take control. So here's some of the subjects, and I'll cover them as we go, but pay yourself first. Adjust your priorities, change your thinking, adjust your lifestyle, earn additional income, avoid the credit trap, set goals and have a plan. That's the basics of taking control, okay? I think change your thinking is a big part of it, because some of us have just given up. It just seems kind of hopeless, and I promise you it's not. So go to the next slide, please. So let's look at what we can control, all right? So there are things that we can control, and there's things that we can't control. I'm going to use my... So the first thing we cannot control the future of Social Security. If you're, I'm going to say, 40 and older, I think we've got a pretty good sense there's going to be a check there. But the Social Security system, have any of you ever read your Social Security statement? What it says, not the number that you're going to get, but the actual, as you open the pamphlet up and start to read it, it says that at the rate we're going, Social Security will be bankrupt in the year 2038. That was always exciting, and then they're going to tell me how much I'm going to have. Well, something's got to change, right? So I think so we can't control that. We can't control your employer and what they're going to pay you. They're going to pay you what they're going to pay you. You can't control taxes. You can't control inflation. You can't control the fact that things cost more as we get older, and you can't control the risk of a single investment. And I learned that firsthand in that working with my firm, we were at one point part of a big company called Citigroup. Citi, you know the name Citi? Big company, yeah? So the stock was $50 a share. We had been gifted and had been earning and had been buying. It was $50 a share. Then in 2008, with the bank crisis, that company, which you would think was a pillar of society, the stock went from 50 to 1. Now, you don't need to know anything about stocks, but to know that something that was $50 per share went to $1 a share, that's not a good thing if you own it and it's the only thing you own, or a lot of what you own is there, all right? So that's the risk of investing in one stock, okay? So what can we control? We can control saving for retirement. We can control other sources of income, which I like you brought that up. We can control ways to reduce our taxes. That's a big one. We're going to talk about that today. We control about maximizing our savings, saving more. In other words, finding money in our budgets that isn't working, that maybe we didn't even realize. And we can control the diversifying our investments. We can actually have our money invested by professional money managers that manage our money for us exactly the way the banks and insurance companies and big corporations have their money managed for them. Do you all know how you do that as a small investor? Through a concept called what? Called a mutual fund. Okay? How many of you have a retirement plan at work like a 401k available to you? Okay. So if I said to you, and I'm going to get to this a little later, but if I said to you, do you use your 401k? People will say yes or no. Okay, so let's say you said yes. Then if I said to you, does your company match? Do you all know that means? In other words, if you put in, do they put in? And many people will say yes, okay? And then if I say, what is your 401k in? What do you invest in the 401k? Many times, what answer do you think I get back? Now, here's what they say, my 401k. I said, no, what do you invest in the 401k? My 401k. No, what's the investment? Oh, conservative, or I picked some. So So this is such an important subject, yet most people are uneducated on this. So I will clear that up for you today. I promise you, you'll never wonder about that today. I'm going to show you a simple little example that will help you to understand that, because it's very, very important and a lot of people don't, all right? So let's go to the next slide. Okay? So the first one is pay yourself first. Now I will, some of these subjects I'm going to go through quickly to get to some main subjects, but this is an interesting one. So here's this slide. So if you'll go to the next slide. Here's the, I want you all to think about this for a minute. How many years have you been working? So I want you in your mind just to do this math with me. How many years have you been working? And then the next question is, how much a year on average have you earned? So let's take a typical, let's say a 40-year-old who's been working for, a 45-year-old who's been working for 20 years, let's say. We'll just use 20 years. And let's say that person's earned, I'm going to use $40,000 a year. So they've made $40,000 a year, and they've made that for 20 years. So how much total have they earned? So here's the way I do that. The first 10 years at $40,000 is $400,000. That's just how I do my simple math, right? And if we double that, that's $800,000. That's what they would have earned. So the question up there is, how much of that $800,000 do they personally have saved right now that they could put their hands on? So if they needed money, how much of the $800,000 do they have? So I want all of you to think about that, and I don't want you to get, some of you have done very well, but some of you would get depressed if you think too long about it. Because most people I ask that question to, maybe they have $1,000 or $5,000, or maybe if they've been using their 401k at work, they've accumulated some substantial money. But for most people, it's not, when you think how much you've earned, the real question is, it's not what you earn, it's what you keep. Okay, so we're gonna really start to look at how do you keep more. All right, if you'll go to the next slide. Now, when it comes to saving, we teach that you need 3 types of accounts. This is very, very important. I never knew this. A lot of people, they have a 401k, and that's their say. They have a checking and a 401k, or they have a checking and an IRA. An IRA, individual retirement account, it's just like a 401k, but it's not through a company. You do it on your own. And I'll distinguish the differences for you in a few minutes. But most people, they have a checking and they have a 401k. And here's the problem. How many jobs have you had over your lifetime? And what's the average, what do you think the average number of jobs a person has over their lifetime is? You know the number? So the number that I've heard is 7, so 4 would be right in there, right? So most people, if they have a job and for whatever reason they leave that job and they're unemployed for a period of time, they have a retirement plan from work. What happens to that retirement plan a lot of times? How many of you know somebody that got laid off and had to use that money they saved up? Does anybody? It's very common. Now, by the way, if you use that money up, it's the most expensive money you'll ever use. Because not only do you get taxed on it, but you get penalized on it. So I had somebody who had $10,000. He said, hey, I need $10,000, and I have my 401k, but I'm unemployed, and I need that money. Okay, actually what they needed to do was go on a vacation, right? Because they were so depressed about being unemployed. So they took their $10,000, and after taxes and inflation, the $10,000 was only $7,000. It cost them $3,000 to use that money. So you can't ever accumulate money if you switch jobs and use that up. So you must build an emergency fund. So we have 3 accounts: an emergency fund, we have an intermediate account for short-term purchases, and then a wealth-building long-term account. And so the emergency fund, what should an emergency fund be? Today, with the interest rates as low as they are at the banks, you could easily put your money in a savings account or a money market or a CD. And you're only earning about 1%, but it's liquid, it's available, you can get your hands on it when you need it. It's an emergency fund. And the experts recommend that we have 3 to 6 months of our income in this emergency fund. So the way you do that is you say, okay, how much money do I make for, and I would start with a 3-month game. Because now if you became unemployed, at least you have 3 months of income sitting there. Well, how do you build that up? With discipline. And you've got to set it up. Here's what I know about me. I love the idea of saving and investing, but I won't do it if it doesn't happen automatically. So if I don't have it come out of my checking account and automatically go, or come out of my paycheck and automatically go, it goes somewhere else. So you want to learn to set up a certain amount a month, every month, that goes into this emergency fund. Now, you're not going to see the graph here, but I want you all to think about this. If I said to you, how much can you comfortably set aside monthly towards saving and investing, towards these three accounts? Emergency fund, short term, would be a house, you want to buy a home, or you want to buy a car, or you're saving for a wedding, right? Or a vacation that you're going to do on a regular basis, that you are putting money away with the purpose of later being able to do something, okay? That would be an intermediate account, and that middle account should be for money that you need 5 years and longer. And then the wealth builder account, that's your retirement money. That's going to be your IRA, your Roth IRA, your 401k, your 403b. And I'll simplify all those. Are all fancy names that the IRS gave, tax laws that give your savings and investments favorable tax treatment. That's all those were. Those are not things you put your money in. Those are tax laws, and we'll share that with you in a moment, okay? So those are the three accounts that you want. If I said, how much a month could you set aside towards those three accounts? And let's say you said, wow, we're really tight right now, but I could maybe do $50 a week. Let's say that was the number. That's $200 a month, all right? So what we're going to recommend is, if that was the number you gave us, we're going to recommend you take that $200 a month, and 100 of it goes into that emergency fund. And that 50 of it goes into that second account, and then the other 50 goes into the long range account. So what do most people want to do when they save? If you had $200, what would they want to do with it? Put all of it in the retirement. That's where it goes. I'm going to put it all there. The problem with that is, if you lose your job, or if you have an emergency and you have a problem and you need to put your hands on money, what do you do to the retirement account? You invade it. You take it, or you take part of it, okay? Many people are able to borrow on their 401k, so they've got a retirement plan at work, and one of the benefits is they let you borrow and pay interest back to yourself. So that's good, but still, that money was designed to do certain things. You're going to see the power of leaving it alone in a moment. You can't touch it. Whatever you put in there, leave it. So the single most important thing I'll tell you today is, if you're saving for retirement, make sure you leave that money alone. It does magical things over time. And have another account for emergencies and short term. All right, are you all with me so far? So those are the three accounts. Now, I had never seen that before. No one ever taught me that you should have three accounts. For how many of you, just this idea of three different type accounts is something new to you? You hadn't really seen it presented that way. I'm curious. Just a few of you? Okay, got it. Okay, good. All right, so let's go to the next one. So we want to use time and consistency. Now I want to just show you the power of this. So this is a graph that says, if you'll go to the next slide, use time and consistency. This says it pays to start early. Now, let me say this. For some of you, you may have already given up. I don't think so, or you wouldn't be here. But if mentally you've kind of said, I just don't have any extra money, and I'm going to show you a few ways to find money. But for now, let's take this information and say, you know what, I want my kids to understand this. This doesn't have to continue. My kids need to understand this. And they're not getting taught in school, so let me teach them. So look at this. Let's say you had $1,000. And how many of you get a tax refund? Who gets a tax refund? There's a Kent story. Thank you, Kent, for sharing this with me yesterday. Get a tax refund. So why do we get a tax? So this is my kind of first tip for you today on where to find money. Okay? How many of you have ever gotten a tax refund? Raise your hand. Okay. So why do you get it? Why do we get a tax refund? Pardon? You overpaid, right? So what happened is, out of every paycheck, your company, thank you, your company withheld money, right? And then at the end of the year, they give it back to you, and they call it a refund. So what is a refund? That's give you money back. So here's the question. How much interest does the government pay you on the money that you lent them all year? Because once they took it from you, what were they doing with it? Something. And it wasn't helping you. In fact, I have clients who have credit card balances that they pay every month at 18, 20, 25, 29%, while they get a $5,000 tax refund every year. And I say, what do you do with the refund when you get, oh, I pay off my credit cards. So why not get that money in your paycheck? You can get that money. You can adjust your deductions and receive that money in your paycheck legally. Okay, and we'll give you all the information. There's a IRS.gov website that will tell you exactly how to do it. You get that $5,000 throughout the year, I think it's $58 a month, or $433 a month that you get, and you could use that and pay your credit cards down every month, which would then save you the interest of 18 or 20 or whatever you're paying in interest. If you pay it down, that's interest. That's now interest you made on your money, or really it's interest you didn't have to pay them. Are you all with me? Okay. So what if you got your tax refund? So you got it, and it was $1,000, and you put that away for. You said, I'm going to put that away for my grandchild, or I'm going to put that away for my child. And you put that and that, let's just use the example that money averaged 9%. Okay? So let me just talk about this for a moment as we get going today. 9%. I know when I saw the number 9%, I remember saying, where do you get 9%? I knew nothing about that, right? And they said, well, you don't get 9%, but you could have averaged 9% if you had invested in something called the S&P 500. So I'm going to say the word S&P 500, and I don't want that to be a mystery for you all. So this is a word you all want to be familiar with, the S&P 500. How many of you have heard of the S&P 500? Okay. So what is the S&P 500? What would an easy explanation be of this thing called the S&P 500? Yeah, so you're like, are you in Primerica? You in? Okay, well, you know a lot. Okay, I thought maybe you were one of our secret agents out there. All right. You know a lot about this, okay? So S&P 500 is the Standard & Poor's 500. Here's what this company does. It's an index, meaning they look at all the companies in the United States, and they look at every industry, and they take the leaders of every industry, the top companies in all industries, and they pick 500 of those companies. And these companies are publicly traded companies, which means you can purchase their stock on the stock exchange. And then they take those 500 and they say, this is an indication, how these 500 companies do is an indication of how the economy is doing. Okay? So if these top 500 companies have a good year, then that's generally how the nation is doing. If they have a bad year, that's how. So if the S&P 500 is up 20%, that's good. If the S&P 500 is down 25%, like it was in 2008, or even more, that's, quote, bad. I'm going to teach you today that it's not good or bad, it's just what it is. It's all perspective. But it is an indication of up and down. Now, the S&P 500, and I'll show you this at the very end, but I want you all to know it's averaged just under 11% for the last 30 years. So the S&P 500 is average 11. What does your bank pay you? 1%, 0.5%, right? It's going up a little. But the S&P 500 is averaged 11. So the same time they're paying us 1 right now, the markets have averaged 11. And I'll talk about this in a moment, but think about this for a moment. If you invest, so 9 is a very conservative number over time. Now here's what average means. It didn't pay 9%. Please, no one leave here today and think for 1 second that you can get 9%. No one, if anybody's promising you, hey, I can show you how to get 9%, you need to really step away from them or have them clarify their statement. Nothing, I don't know of anything paying 9%. Here's what I know. I know the S&P 500 has averaged 11. What's average mean? Up and down, up and down, up and down. So over time, so you may hit a period of time where the market's down a couple years in a row, and you're looking at that, it didn't average 9%, but if you leave it there over time, history tells us that's what it's averaged, because companies make money, all right? So if you put $1,000 away for a child and left it there to age 67, it grows to $406,000. If you waited and you said, you know what, I think my 16-year-old should start, and you put the $1,000 away for the 16-year-old, that same money would grow to $96,000. Same 1,000, one time invested, at 16 years old at age 67 is $900,000. It's $300,000 less. Pretty amazing. And if you waited till you were, I think the last one down there is age 45. I don't know why it's not showing here. Let me just see. Oh, here it is. It's not shown on the graph. At 40, if it happened at 40, it would grow to 11. If at 40 you say, I better start saving some money. If you put your $1,000 away, it grows to $11,000 over that same time. Okay? So does it pay to start early? Well, I want you to think about this. Who do you know who should see that? All the kids. All the kids. All the kids need to see this. We actually have a How Money Works for Children that's designed for parents to help their children learn. Okay? So let's look at the next example. Let's go to the next one. If you go to the next one. Don't pay the high cost of waiting. That's another example real quick of what happens when you wait. See, most of us wait. So here's a 25-year-old. If you wanted to accumulate $500,000 for your retirement, and is there anybody here that's 25 or under? Yes, okay. So if you start now and you said, okay, I want to accumulate $500,000 for retirement, at 9% you could save $89 a month and hit the goal. Right? Now let's say you say, nah, I'm going to wait till I'm 35. I got things to do, right? We all have things to do. Now it's $224 a month. I'm going to wait till 45. Now it's $602 a month. By the way, when do most people start thinking about and getting serious about retirement? Around then. $602 a month. Then you go, $602 a month. I don't have $602 a month. And then I'm helpless, and then they don't do anything. And if you're 55, well, $1,900, I don't know many 55-year-olds who have an extra $1,900. Maybe now that hopefully the kids are out and on their own and are not part of the boomerang generation, where they go out to school and then they somehow wander back in, right? You might have $1,900. Let's look at the next one. Let's look at it. Don't pay the high cost of waiting. Go to the next one. So this next one says, what if you only, let's say you had $100 a month and you were willing to budget $100 a month. So $100 a month is about $3 a day. 3 times 30, right? A little more, $3.33 a day, and you'd have $100 a month, $3 a day. What do we do? There's a guy named David Bach who wrote a book, and in his book he called it the latte factor. The latte factor is all of us that like our little latte from Starbucks, what do they cost? All right, so give up. So look, you give up one of those a day. I know it's hard to imagine. And what does it accumulate to? At age 25, that goes to $566,000. If you waited, you said, no, I'll wait till 26. When I'm 26, I'll do it. That went to $517,000. So the $3 a day cost you $49,000 at retirement. Okay? If you wait till you're 30, it costs you $200,000 at retirement. If you wait till 40, it costs you almost $429,000 to wait. Okay? So here, all I'm trying to do is help you all understand these are basic principles of money, and no one had ever showed them to me. I don't know. In 5th grade, you could explain this to a kid, they'd get it. At least by 9th. Okay, now we're going to talk about the power of compound interest. Go to the next one. Now, this is really interesting, but if you saved $100 a month at 9%, this is kind of another example of it, $100 a month grows to $471. But look at what $20 a month grows to. Almost $100,000. If you start, if you have enough time. All right, go to the next one. Now, this slide is not going to do justice to my story, so you'll have to just stay with me on this, because I have this in a PowerPoint that's much more dramatic than you're going to get today, but you'll get the sense of it. There's a rule called the Rule of 72. Oh, wait, yeah, go to the next one. The Rule of 72, okay? So the Rule of 72, how many of you have heard of the Rule of 72? Okay. So the Rule of 72 says that if you want to know how long it takes money to double, you can divide your interest rate into the number 72, and that answer is the number of years it takes money to double. All right, now let me help you with that because I just said a lot, all right? So let's say you could save your money at the bank, you could save your money in maybe a government bond, or you could save your money in maybe a mutual fund. and you had these three choices, and you understood the difference, and let's just say you inherited $10,000 from grandma or grandpa, you got this $10,000, but the stipulation of the money was you had to invest that money, you had to save that money. You couldn't spend it. And you had to leave it there till retirement. As a matter of fact, we're going to use the example of a 20-year-old who has to save that money till age 68. Okay, are you all with me? So they got the 10 grand, you got the money, and the first person says, I'm going to put that at the bank. It's safe. I don't have to worry about it. I know where the bank is. They're really nice. When I go in, they always give my children a little sucker, you know, you wonder why they call it that, okay? I'm going to say this now to you. It'll save time later, but there's a point to it. Remember earlier I said, how much interest does the government pay you on the money you lend them all year? Okay, I use the word lend. If I lent you $10,000 right now, I would expect you to pay that back to me with what? Interest, okay? If you're the bank and I deposit $10,000, I expect to get it back in the future with what? Interest. So what was the difference? So they call it a deposit. I call it a loan. See, if I drop my money off and you're the bank, I leave it there. Didn't I lend it to you to go do what you want with it? And what do you do? What's the bank do with it? They invest it and they lend it. What are credit cards, right? What are mortgages? They have professional money managers. All the Harvard and Yale MBAs that learn how to manage money manage it for the banks. That's what's going on. They use our money to make money. There's nothing wrong with that. We just need to understand it. And there's certain times we believe you have to use the bank. You need the bank for a mortgage. You need banks for car loans. You need the bank is a great place for savings. It's a great place for your children to learn about saving, and you pay your bills out of the checking and right. So we need the bank. But for our long-term money, why do we lend it to them if they're just going to use it? So let's say you lent your money to the bank at 3%. All right. Now, the rule of 72 says if we divide the 3 into 72, what's the answer is, you don't have to remember this, it's 24. What does that mean? That means that $10,000 is going to double every what? Every 24 years, that $10,000 doubles at 3%. So what happens is it doubles in 24 years, and it doubles again in 48 years, and at age 68, you would have $40,000. Is that exciting? It might be if you don't know compared to what, right? So let's look at this. Let's double the interest. If you double the interest from 3 to 6, let's say you went to a government bond. You lent the money to the government in the form of a bond, and it averaged 6%. Okay? If you double the money, what do you think should happen to the money? If you double the interest, what should happen to the money? 40 should be. Now, this is very important. This is probably the most important thing. This was kind of got me interested in the financial industry. I was a public relations major, mass communications at University of South Florida. I dropped out of the business school because I couldn't stand the thought of taking accounting too. I mean, that's why I got out of. So I got a public relations degree, and then I saw this rule, the rule of 72, and I went, whoa, this is way more interesting than I ever thought. Because what happens now is at 6%, if you divide 6 into 72, the answer is 12, and now our money doubles every what? Every 12 years. So we have 20,000, in 24 years we've got 40, in 36 years 80, and in 48 years we have 160,000. I went to my meeting. When I went to the meeting, the guy said, look at that, it fourpled. Fourpled. This guy makes money doing this, and he's using words like fourple? And he said it for maximum shock effect because the word's quadruple, right? 4 times. But look at that, 106. Now watch this. Take it again. Go to the next. Double it again. Now, funds have not averaged 12, but just assume for a minute the bank knows how to make 12% on some of our money. So what is that? Look. It doubles every 6 years, and we end up with $2.5 million. Now, can you afford not to know this? What if you only have a little money? It doesn't matter. We need to know this. So who would benefit by knowing this rule? And how many people do you think know the rule? And so this is why, if you like the seminar today, we're going to ask you to tell, whenever we do another one, hopefully I'll earn the right to come back, to come on back. You ought to, or if you're interested in more detailed information, Edwin will happily make arrangements to visit with you to share that with you. But this is the kind of stuff that I got excited about sharing with other people and say, man, no one knows this stuff. Let's go to the next one, okay? Let's go to the next one. So the importance of rate of return. Look at this. The difference in 3, 6, and 9 matters. Let's say you don't have $10,000. Let's use an example of a $1,000 one-time investment at 9%, and that's over I believe it's over a 40-year period. Let me just make sure what the graph it says. Yeah, it's a 40-year period. Grows at 9%, it grows to 406. $1,000 one time at 6% is $55,000, and at 3% is $7,400. So if you invested, lent the bank $1,000, deposited it there, and they used your money for 40 years, they made almost $400,000 on you. Okay? And you don't have to do, you can have your money go right where they go. Go to the next one. How doubling your interest can quadruple your savings. Here's another example of $100 a month invested. At the bank at 4.5%, grows to $175,000 over 45 years, and at 9%, $746,000. That's the difference in 4.5 and 9. So here's my question to you. How important is 1% of interest working for you over time? Every percentage point matters. So we have to look at where's our money now, how's it invested, who's managing it, are there other options and choices, and if I get educated and understand more, can I then make this investment without fear? So that's what we're going to work on a little bit now, is how to take a little bit of the fear out through understanding. All right, so let me ask you, are there any questions so far? I've been talking for a while. Are you all with me? We're all doing okay? Hanging in? Yes, sir.
The rule of 72?
Yes.
Like, is that also reversed? So let's say if you have a credit card at 20%, and, so 20 goes into 72 like 3.5 times. So is the bank, like, are you going to double
what you owe
on your payment on the reverse side is what I'm asking.
I've never looked at it that way, but interest is interest. It's going to work in both directions. I'm going to show you some examples in a moment of how the credit card companies, how we really need to be aware of the difference in revolving and fixed interest debt. There's different types of debt. There's different ways they calculate interest. Okay? So I wish I could give you the answer. I don't know. I've never had that question. All right? Kent, do you know? The answer is yes?
If you had a car loan at 6%.
Kent is one of the gentlemen I've had the privilege of coaching.
Yeah.
And actually brought Edwin into the business.
So,
yeah.
all right. So at 6%, like if you have a 6% loan on your car, yes, it works exactly like that. Have you looked at your statement at the end? You're like, man, it feels like I'm paying like more than double what I bought this car for. Yes, that's why, because it's compounding. Now, when you look at a credit card, now it's compounding times because it's on revolving. The credit is every month. That's when it's multiplying, not every every day. It's multiplying every. So if you have an interest rate of 9%, that's monthly. But if it's on a credit card, it's daily compounding against you.
I'll show you an example. We're not going to get too technical today, but we're going to show you an example of the math behind that. Just what the result is of that, okay? Because most of us are not aware if it's a credit card or it's a second mortgage on the house, what's the difference? 9% is 9%. No, not all 9% are equal, okay? All right, so let's go to the next. So pay off your debt. Perfect segue. Let's go. Let's look at it. Here's the bad news about here. Perfect. Here's the bad news about compounding, all right? This, by the way, this is all going to be in the booklet that you're going to get. And so you can go back through all this later and start to get the details of it. But did you know that if you made a one-time $3,000 purchase on a credit card, all right, with an 18% interest rate, and you added no new purchases, and you made the minimum payments? I'll never forget my first credit card. I was in college. Sears sent it to me. And Sears gave me, I think it was like back then I think they gave me a $200 credit limit. It was back in 79, all right, $200 credit limit. I remember getting this card, and they said, you can, and to me, it was like them giving me $200. And then I said, so if I buy something with it, what's the payment? And it was just like a little $20 or something I had to pay back. And so I made my minimum payments. Now, once I made those minimum payments a few months in a row, you know what they did? What'd they do? They increased they said, you're such a good person to lend money to, we're going to lend you more money, right? Here's more for you, right? Since you have none, we're going to give you more, right? So now watch this. So it would take at least 10 years to pay that off if you made the minimum payments with no new purchases. So you'd actually pay back $2,000 in interest. So on the $3,000, it cost you $5,002 on making the minimum payments. So we have to learn to accelerate. I'm going to show you a great solution. Go to the next one. Revolving debt versus fixed debt. Here's that example. In the revolving debt, it's like that would be like a credit card debt. The example is $17,000 at 18%, paying $595 a month, versus fixed debt, mortgage debt, where money goes to principal and interest. It's the same $17,000, 18%, $595, except one is paid off in 17 years with $12,000 of interest paid, and the mortgage debt is paid off in 3 years with $5,000 of interest paid. That's the difference in credit card debt versus fixed interest debt. So you've got to look at your debt and go, what kind of debt do I have, to really understand what kind of decisions to make. Because people say, oh, you should never borrow money on your home. If you have equity, you shouldn't do that. Well, what would you think you should do if you had this $17,000 debt? Where would you be better? Borrowing on your home and paying back $5,300 in interest, or using your credit card because someone said don't borrow on your home and paying $12,500, right? Can you all see? But we need to know that. We need to look at the debt, what kind of debt. Go to the next one. And here's the real, this is called debt stacking, or the debt snowball. And this is a concept Dave Ramsey has talked about a lot. This is like what he's known for, is the debt snowball. And here's an example of somebody who's got $2,720 per month of debt payment. That includes their car, the credit cards, and the mortgage. All their debt, all right? And they're paying this $2,720 a month. And typically, if someone pays off a credit card, like finally it's paid off, what do most people do with that money? Like, let's say credit card one, you paid off this $220 a month that you were paying towards it, and now you no longer have the debt. What do most people do now? Most people use the money for something else? How many of you think that most people would say, oh, good, I've got an extra credit line. I got $220 extra in my budget. I can go borrow some more money. Okay? Unfortunately, sir, most people don't do that. Now, what if they did take that money, that $220, and applied it to the next debt? And that's the debt stacking idea. It says my fixed payments are $2,720, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay $2,720 till I'm out of debt. And so as soon as that first one's paid off, they take that $220 and they apply it to the next card they were paying $353 to, and now they pay $573 to that. And then when that's paid off, they add it to the next debt, and they pay $1124 to it, then $1147 to it. And what ends up happening by paying a debt off and then taking that money and applying it to the next debt, here's what ends up happening. The result, we don't have a PowerPoint here, so it came up that way. Here's the result. Go to the next one. The result would be, here's the simple result. In example one, without debt stacking, they pay for 23 years. They pay $214,000 of interest. To who? To the banks and credit card companies. And they end up paying $2,720. On the debt stacking, they're out of debt in 9 years. Out of debt, home and all. 14 years sooner, they avoid $130,000 of interest by doing this debt stacking program. That's $130,000 they have now. Actually, what they've really got is they got no payments in 9 years. So what do you have? You have $2,700. Let's say you had no retirement saved right now, but this was your scenario, and you said, I'm going to get out of debt. I don't recommend this completely, but I'm going to get out of debt, and then once I'm out of debt, I'm going to take that $27,000 and I'm going to invest that for my retirement. What would have been the end of a debt payment is now enough money for you to retire almost. Okay, I don't think they have the example in here. They don't have it in here, but it's pretty shocking how much that is. It's kind of like this. Student loans, are they an issue for people today? So I want you to think about a young person who comes out of college with student debt. Let's say, what's the typical amount of money you think a student owes today when they come out of college? 75, 100, some 150. If you're a doctor, it might be 300,000. So you come out of school with this debt, which means no matter what your salary is, there's a good chance for many years you're going to have to take the extra salary you've gotten for getting these extra degrees, and you're going to have to take that money and pay it to the debt. So why do most people get more degrees? So they can get bigger what? Bigger paycheck. But now the bigger paycheck to pay down the debt. It's a little scary. But what happens is you get out of school and you start making this $500 a month debt payment. What if you came out of school with no debt and you had the $500 a month to invest? You understand the difference in that 25-year-old coming out of school with debt versus the 25-year-old who comes without it? The 25-year-old that pays the debt payment at 45, what do they have? No debt, finally. The person who invested that money has hundreds of thousands of dollars saved. Why? Because parents took the time to learn about this and started putting money away for kids' college. I know, here's the challenge. We don't make enough money to do all these things. That's why I appreciate what you said, young lady, about financial independence, okay? So that's kind of, so avoid 3 common credit mistakes: not valuing your credit, raising your credit limits, not monitoring your credit history, not monitoring your credit score. There is a website that you all can go on. It's got a free credit score. It tracks, it's called Credit Karma. Have any of you heard of it? Now, I personally use Credit Karma, and every month I can go into Credit Karma and they show me my credit scores for all the credit bureaus. All right? It's a free service, and you can monitor it and make sure, because your credit score really matters when it comes to purchasing even a car or getting car insurance. You know, when you get car insurance, they look at your credit score. Your pricing is built on that. When you get a car, when you buy a car, your loan payment's on your credit score. When you want to buy a house, it's all on that. Everything's affected by that. So that's a big area. All right, next area. Buy the right kind of life insurance. Now, this is a really interesting subject, but life insurance is a mystery to most people. How many of you have ever bought life insurance before, outside of work? How many of you have ever done it? Okay. So when you bought it, what's the purpose of life? So if I said, what's the purpose of life insurance? And by the way, what I'm about to tell you right now is why I got into the financial services business, not all this other stuff. This became important to me, but what I'm going to talk to you about now is the reason I got into the business. So what's the purpose of life insurance? Just give me some reasons you think life insurance is important.
To replace your income for your family if something happens to you.
So that's the general answer I would give. What other reasons do people buy life insurance? So did you hear what he said? To replace the lost income if you died prematurely. So I'm going to give you an example. Husband and wife are making $40,000 each. They're making $80,000 a year, and basically they're spending about $80,000 a year on food, shelter, clothing, insurance. Right? You all with me? So they got $80,000 coming in, $80,000 going out. If husband dies or wife dies prematurely, $40,000 of income's gone. What still remains for that family right then and there? $80,000 worth of bills, yes? Maybe a little less. Food is not now needed for the one that's no longer here, but basically the same amount of money is needed, yet now there's $40,000 coming in with $80,000 of bills. What does that family lose when that happens? What happens to that family when that breadwinner passes away and leaves that family who was dependent on their income without that income? What do they lose? What do they lose? They lose their neighborhood. They lose the schools. They lose what? Security. They lose quality of life. So not only did they lose a loved one, but they lost the income of that loved one. So our opinion is life insurance should be used to replace that lost income. That's what we believe, okay? Somehow the life insurance industry, in our opinion, got it a little confused. And their belief is that you not only should you buy insurance if you die so the family has money, but you should save your money in a life insurance policy. Okay? There's a form of insurance called whole life insurance. And it combines insurance and savings together in one package. And the way it's sold is you don't have to die to win. See, with life insurance, with term insurance, which is what we believe in, which is what Dave Ramsey believes in, which is what Susie Orman believes in, and what every expert outside the insurance industry believes in, is something called term insurance. That's protection only. The life insurance industry, they want you to save your money with them as well. Okay? And the reason for that, the way they market it is, you could borrow on it if you need it, and when you live long, you've got money in retirement, so you didn't have to die to win. With term, the only way to win is to die. That's not a very good deal. So they've convinced a lot of people that it's a great place to save, and it's a great place to be able to borrow money if you need it, and that someday you can get a big pile of money back. So basically, you get all your money back, so the insurance was free. That's how it's sold. Have any of you ever heard that before, any of those things? Okay. So that's a bunch of crap to us. We believe that I have to be careful. Bless me, please. That we don't agree with that. Okay, we don't agree with that. Okay, and I'll give. So let me give you another way to understand life insurance. Let's just say you had a toaster right now in your kitchen, and on the 1st and 15th of every month, $2,000 popped up out of the toaster. Would you like the toaster? You're marrying the toaster, aren't you? We'd like the toaster, right? Would you insure it? Like, would you buy some insurance to make sure if that thing didn't produce the $2,000, the $2,000 came anyway? Yes? I had a lady the other day said, I'd build a special room for it and hire a guard. Okay? So if you'd insure an imaginary toaster, right? Here's the reality. We're money machines. So we believe that if we'd insure a toaster, we should insure our lives if there are people dependent on our income. Right? Does that make sense? So as we look at this, buy the right kind of insurance, we look at how much is your car worth, right? We insure it. How much is your house worth? We insure it. How much is your life worth? Really, how much is your life worth in producing income? Is that insured? And we think that's the purpose of life insurance, and we think the only kind of insurance you should buy is term life insurance. Term life insurance, which is for a term, for a period. Let me give you an example. We call this, actually, we go to the next one. Yeah. This is our belief in when it comes to insurance. So see if this makes sense. You all just stay with me for a minute, and then I'll answer your questions because you're going to have them, I hope. We believe in something called the theory of decreasing responsibility. Here's what the theory says. I know you can't read it, but see the top left, the orange? That says in the early years you may need a lot of coverage, and then at the bottom it says in the later years you may not. And it also says in the early years you don't have a lot of money, but when you're older you better. Basically what this says is when you're young and you've got young children and debts and a mortgage, that's when lost income would devastate the family. So we believe you need the most amount of coverage when you have the highest responsibilities. Okay, does that make sense? Term insurance is a very inexpensive way to do that. Think of it this way. We believe you should rent a pile of money until you've accumulated a pile of money. See, here's the reality. If right now, if you had enough money saved, where if you died, your family could take that money and live comfortably off that, then you really don't need life insurance. Because they're okay, because you've saved your way to protecting the family. But if you haven't saved your way to protecting the family, then we believe you should rent the pile of money until you build the pile of money with the principles that we've been talking about. And then once you've got a big enough pile and the kids are grown and the debts are low and the mortgage isn't paid and they aren't dependent on your income, now you may not need life insurance at all. Let me give you an example. If you had $1 million saved or $500,000 saved and no life insurance, and you were 65 years old with $1 million and no life insurance. You all got this scenario? And you died. What would the family get? You have no life insurance and $1 million. What's the family going to get? $1 million. Do they care where it comes from? Bishop, have you ever done a funeral where the people were complaining and groaning and griping because the guy left $1 million and it wasn't life insurance? Did you ever hear that conversation? Can you believe that? The guy, he left $1 million and none of it was life insurance. Did you ever hear that? You're never going to hear that. But you've heard someone dies. What's the first question everybody asks? Do they have life insurance? How much? We don't know, but here's the plate. Here's a GoFundMe. There's a GoFundMe. I saw someone in our company posted, GoFundMe is not life insurance. Okay? So that's the theory of decreasing responsibility. So our whole goal is to teach people to accumulate money so they don't need insurance. Now, here's the reason I believe you should not save your money in life insurance. It's a very poor savings account. Let me give you a scenario of this. Let's say you got home from work Friday, and let's say you got a letter from your bank. And you go to the mailbox, you open the letter up, you open it up, you read it, and they says, we want to change the rules in your bank savings account. There's some new rules. We need you to read the rules, sign the letter, send it back, and here are the new rules. And here are the new rules. Rule number 1, all deposits will have a zero balance for 2 to 3 years. Second rule, we're going to pay you 1 to 3% interest on the money. We'll decide. Third rule, if you need the money, we will now allow you to borrow your money and pay 5 to 8% to borrow the money that was earning 1 to 3 that wasn't there for the first 3 years. All right, how do y'all like it so far? And by the way, we have a clause and provision that now gives us the right to withhold the loan for 6 months. In the event you have an emergency, we can hold the money for 6 months. And on top of it, if you die, people are always bickering and quarreling over money when you die. So we don't want you to ever worry about that. So that if you die, the bank is going to keep all your money. Sign, send it back. Y'all got that ridiculous sounding story? So would anyone knowingly sign that letter and agree to those rules? So if you had money in an account like that, would you want to know? Raise your right hand if you'd want to know if your money was currently in that account. Just make sure we're all clear. Now, you might say, well, I'd be a little embarrassed. I'm not saying you'd be embarrassed. I'm just saying, would you want to know? And here's another question. If you could get your money out of there, would you? So if your friends and family had money there, do you think they'd want to know? Okay. I joined the company because of what I just explained to you. I got into the financial industry because I started reading whole life policies. And the rules in the policies are the rules I just gave you. If you own something right now, if at your home, I'm not going to ask you, but if you own something called whole life insurance, universal life insurance, variable life insurance, or any kind of life insurance with savings in it, you need to have that contract looked at and reviewed, and you need to be able to see, can I buy insurance and save money separately and beat this? And I promise you can. If you're healthy still and you qualify, you can provide so much more coverage for your family and have so much more retirement using the money. I call it resurrecting dead dollars, okay? Because the reality is this. So what's the insurance company doing with your money when you give it? Look, do any of you have a car insurance policy that has a savings account added? Well, if you did, would the car insurance cost more? Yes, for the savings account. That's all that's happening with life insurance. There's a certain number of people that die at a particular age, and the insurance company knows if we collect enough money from everybody, we'll cover those losses. It's called mortality expense. It's called term life insurance. If you had New York Life right now, I'm going to give you this example. If you own New York Life whole life policy, when you send $100 a month to them for the $100,000 policy that you own, let's just use that example. What does New York Life do with the $100 once they receive it at their home office? We need to think about. We don't think about these things, but what do they do? What do they do with it? Here's what they do with it. They take a little bit of the money and they cover the risk of you dying, called mortality. They take the rest of it after they've paid their agent to sell it and they've taken care of the underwriting expenses. They take the rest of it, they put it in their general investment account and use it. And then if you need it, what do they make you do? Borrow it. Can you imagine going to your bank teller and saying, I need my money? And they go, well, yeah, you're going to have to pay us some interest to get it out. Now, lose the money if you die? Well, here's what happens. If you have $50,000 in cash value and $100,000 of insurance and you die, what's the family get? You have a $100,000 policy. That was the agreement for your $100 a month, and you got $50,000 in cash value, savings in there, and you die. What's the family? What should they get? They should get it all. You know what they get? 100,000. They get the face amount. Well, where's the cash go? They use that to help pay the death benefit. That's where it goes. It says it right in the contract. People go, oh, no, mine doesn't work that way. I have dividends, and my dividends do, they do. Well, dividends in insurance aren't dividends. When you get a dividend from a stock that you own, that's a profit. Do you know that anybody have a stock that they own where they get a dividend? Anybody have that? If you got that, you'd have to pay tax on it. Insurance dividends, there are no taxes on the dividends because they're not dividends at all. They're partial refunds of an overpayment. So they give you overpay and they give part of it back and call it a dividend. Now, folks, I'm not asking you just to believe all this. I'm giving you information that completely blew me away, and I felt it was very, very important for people to know this. I didn't just take what they told me. I went and read. I asked questions. I went to insurance agents, had them explain it to me. I looked at the math. It's a mathematical problem. Unfortunately, none of us know enough to even know what questions to ask. Would you all agree that that's kind of a problem? When you buy your car insurance, when you go to the car agent, this is how I was. I go to my State Farm guy, and I say, hey, I need car insurance. They go, what kind of car you got? I go, this is the kind of car, this is the make. And they go, okay, here's what it's going to cost. I say, well, like if I get in a wreck, what happens? Don't worry, this is full coverage. You're all covered. You're all protected. This is the full plan. You're all set. I go, okay, great. That's it. I don't even know what else to ask. Life insurance is the same way. But you need to know what to ask, all right? Any questions? I hope there is, please. Do I have anybody who wants to debate with me on this? I really enjoy that. Usually there's an agent or someone who sells insurance, Bishop, in the audience, and I'm very kind and gentle, but it's a math problem. This is a very important subject, folks, because people are paying a lot of money every month for this, and they don't understand what they've got. Yes?
So tell me, since we don't have that agent here, what is the typical argument you get?
The typical argument is, well, people that buy term insurance won't invest the difference. So then at the end of the term, they have nothing, because the price goes up so dramatically at the end of the term, they can't afford it. Now, two things about that. Number one is at the end of the term, the price goes up dramatically. Absolutely true. Why does it go up dramatically? Because your chances of dying are greater. But it goes up dramatically when the kids are grown, the debts are paid, the mortgage is paid, and if you've done what we advise and save 10% of your income in a 401k, you're now self-insured, or an IRA, you are now self-insured with your own money, and when it goes up, you don't need insurance anymore. Well, someone says, well, what if I'm terminally ill and I've got cancer and I know I'm going to die and now the term comes up? Can I explain something? If you're terminally ill, you are going to pay whatever premium is required and you're going to have a bunch of money in your investments to help you pay it. So that's one argument. Second argument is they won't invest the difference. Well, maybe when there was no such thing as a 401k where they took the money out of your paycheck, that would be true. But if you take the money out of my paycheck, I'm investing, right? Are you all with me? Maybe that was when there was no ability to set up a transfer out of your bank account on an automatic bank transfer. You know, where you could say, I want 50 a month, 100 a month, 500 a month to come out of my checking account to go to my IRA. Maybe that was true then. Okay, but that's not necessarily true today. The other, so those are the two main arguments that I get. Okay. The other argument I get is, well, only a small percentage of term insurance policies pay death claims. The reason for that is the industry might sell term insurance. They all have it, but their goal is to convert it to whole life. They call term insurance temporary. They call whole life permanent. They call term insurance renting, which is true. They call whole life owning. Would you rather own or rent? What would you rather do? Everybody says rather own. Well, we're going to teach you to rent the pile until you own the pile. So I don't know. I don't really think there's any other arguments. Yes?
So, let's say I don't have life insurance, but I have life insurance to work. So I'm
A lot of people have insurance through. So life insurance through work is, look, any insurance they give you for free is great insurance. Many times at work, they'll allow you to add supplemental which is very good for certain people. For smokers, it's very good, okay? And for unhealthy people, very good. And most group coverage, if you smoke or are unhealthy, you get guaranteed you can add on. Well, that means the people that are healthy and don't smoke, their pricing is higher than if they bought it privately. So if someone's healthy, they can buy it privately, less expensive than the additional insurance at work. The other problem with work insurance, when you leave the job, what happens to the insurance? So let's say you work at a company and now they lay you off. Most of those group plans, if you're out of work for 90 days, you are no longer covered. If you are uninsurable, meaning you've had a heart attack or you've had a health issue, you have diabetes, or you may not be able to get insurance on your own outside of work. So we believe that you should always get insurance. If you qualify, get it on your own privately outside of work in addition to whatever you can get at work, and then check the rates to see if you can get a better rate outside. And we have our plans. They're very competitive with the group plans at work. And by the way, every agent has both kinds. Every agent has term and whole. Every agent. So why would an agent want to sell whole? So why does the company want the agent to sell whole? Let's go back. New York Life got the $100. What'd they do? They bought term insurance, the mortality, and they invested the difference, right? So they had use of the money, right? So why do they want the agents to sell it? So they can have the money. Because your savings dollars are now with the insurance company as well. All right? The last part of this meeting is going to be about investing in a moment. And how long have we gone? Wow, we're 11th. Holy moly. We've already gone, we're 11th. So I'm going to continue on. Do we need a break for 5 minutes? Are you all right? How about if we do, look, let's do that. I don't want to lose any of you, but the last part of this meeting, we're going to cover two things. We're going to cover how mutual funds work, basic, and we're going to talk about IRAs and 401ks and what they are exactly, and that'll be today's That'll be today's seminar, okay? Yes?
Well, how does your company do it? Do you recommend annuities?
Do what we recommend annuities?
Annuities.
In some instances, yes, and I could talk to you about that, but it depends on the age of the person and their goals and objectives. And so annuities add a level or degree of safety and certainty that mutual funds don't have. But there's a fee and a cost and expense to that. So I think someone has to really look at that situation to understand. But so there's mutual funds and we'll talk about that. And by the way, I can't even believe it's 11:30. All right, so I was excited. I hope you all got a little something out. We're going to take a 5 minutes. So the time is 11. What time is it right now? 11:33. So at 11:38, we're going to be back. Okay. Very good. And then,
Excuse me, if there's a sign-up sheet in the back, if you want to receive the How Money Works.
all right. Well, welcome back. Good. I didn't chase everyone away. That's good. Okay. So this last part. So any questions before we go? So we're going to hit really a couple things. Yes, Pat. Yes, Bishop.
So, here's just a quick question. I wish I were 25 again. Let me just start there. But I have children who, because of work, couldn't be here.
Yes.
But I'm going to make sure they connect to everything because they are at that age. What happens, and this might be beyond the scope of what you're sharing today, but what happens when you're 55 plus and you're hearing this for the first time? A lot of this is wealth building on retirement accounts and all that, but what happens when you're beyond that? What about wealth building then?
So the straight answer, budgeting becomes critically important. Making sure what you have accumulated is protected properly. You know, if you've not got money saved and you're at that age, it's almost too late to accumulate enough to not have to work. So the answer is you've got to find a way to make more money. And you've got to find a way. So my answer is come to work with us and teach these principles and earn extra income. I mean, that's honestly, people that are interested in what I'm talking about, that want to earn more income, I would say get licensed, and the way I'm sharing this with you is how we do our business. Your name again? Gail, I found out, is in Primerica with a friend of mine, Jim Coker from New York. Your mom was in Primerica, right? And now you're in. So I can tell you, our uniqueness, Bishop, is that everyone starts with us part-time. So we never have anybody quit their job. So if any of you are interested in that, Edwin is going to be the person to see, and we're going to be sending you the book so you'll have a contact. And I would just say fill the form out at the end and let us know you're interested, and then we would arrange a time to really talk to you about the details of that. But we sponsor the licenses. It's very inexpensive to do, and you do it at your own pace. So if somebody's older, the answer is teach people this and get paid to do it. Okay? And so we get paid on the insurance, and then we get paid on the investment side. And quite honestly, at the 55-year-old range, the investment side of our business is usually the thing that interests people the most, because everybody they know is in the same question about what do I do with my money and where's the right place to invest it in. So it's kind of comes up a lot, the topic, okay? I'm 60, I'll be 62. I'm still out here doing it, right? No, there's no limit. I recruited my cousin, my mother's cousin. He was 55 when he started, and at age 70, I bought his business, and he received $100,000 a year while he was with his grandkids. And at 80, he passed, but he had 10 years to. At 55, he had no money, and at 70, he was able to quit working. So I don't think there's an age limit. Age is an attitude, you know. I promised, Bishop, I wouldn't turn this into a recruiting meeting, but I'm happy to talk to you all about. Yes, did you have one other thing?
Just wanted to say that my parents started doing this business years ago back in New York, but because of health issues, they had to stop. But recently, my mom was a cancer survivor, and but recently she got back into the business, and she's 77. My dad is 82. They just passed their life insurance exam, and they're licensed now. And so it's never too late when it's something you want to do.
The gentleman who started our company is worth, you all would benefit by just tracking him. His name is Art Williams, A.L. Williams. And Art Williams, you can just write this down, artwilliamsbest.com, artwilliamsbest.com. And if you go on to artwilliamsbest.com, you could sign up for his weekly inspirational message. It doesn't matter what you do for a living, you'll be inspired by him, but he's a very interesting man. And I was telling the bishop earlier that he was very involved with Liberty University, and as a matter of fact, there's the Art Williams Stadium now at Liberty that he's quite a man, interesting to study. And he built the business on relationships. He was a coach and a teacher, and he never wanted to be perceived as a salesperson. So the way I'm presenting this information to you today is how we do business. It's just, we'll share it. If there's an interest, we go from there. If there's not, you know who we are, you know where we're at, and we're willing to help whenever. And we obviously do get compensated if someone helps, if we help somebody. But it's very similar to a travel agent. You know, we get paid from the companies that we bring business to. Our clients don't pay us directly. So it's kind of like a travel agent. If you do like a cruise, the cruise company pays the travel agent. You don't. Same, very similar to how we operate. All right? So this is Edwin. Raise your hand, Edwin. Edwin is around and available and would be happy to speak to any of you, okay? All right, so let's go. We're going to now talk. Now, I'm going to move a little fast because I want to hit some ideas. And we've been here. It's almost noon. And I think we say we're going to be done at noon, but we started 15 minutes late. So my goal is to have us out of here at 12:15. Is that fair? Can you all hang? All right. So deferred taxes. So if you go to the next, the power of tax deferred. One of the things you want to start looking at is, if you have money saved, is it growing without taxes, or is that money being taxed? Because it absolutely has an effect over time. And all this shows is, I'll just go out to this last one here, is if you were saving money and paying taxes all along, In this example, there's 800, this is probably a fully funded IRA in this example. There's 857,000 versus 2.1 million. So there's you need to, even if it's a shorter period of time, it's 175 to 300,000. There's a big difference in paying taxes and deferring taxes. The word defer means what? To put off, to defer until a later time. So there are two types of investments you all want to be aware of. Tax deferred, where you pay taxes later, and tax free, where you pull money out with no tax. Right? So we're going to make sure that today you understand clearly the difference. If you go to the next one. Deductibility versus deferrability. There's another word you hear out there called tax deductible. Tax deductible. Tax deductible usually pertains to 401k plans, which we'll talk about in a moment, where you put money out of your paycheck, and what they do is they reduce your pay. So let me give you an example. Deductible. You can do that. Let's actually go to the next one. It says go to the next one. Which IRA do you prefer? Deductible or non-deductible? Okay. And then the Roth IRA, which is non-deductible but not taxed when you take money out. So let's look at it. Let's just say you made 40 grand a year, and the government says you could put 5,500 a year away in a Roth IRA. Yes, sir. Question? Okay. So the government says you could put money away. So here's the thing: if it's deductible, so let's say you made 40,000 and we'll use 5,000 to make the math easy, and you put 5,000 in an IRA. So the government's going to let you deduct $5,000 from your income. They're actually going to let you legally hide the money and not pay tax on it. So what's going to happen is you're going to pay tax on $45,000 because you put $5,000 in your IRA deductible or your 401k deductible. All right, so you all got that so far? All right, now here's what happens though. When you start pulling money out of the plan is when you pay your tax. Now here's a question. Do you think taxes in the future of our country will be higher than they are now or lower? Now, most people say that because we know we have a deficit, and somewhere along the way, someone's got to pay for that. So people seem to sense that later taxes will be higher. So most experts recommend that if your income is at a certain level, that you put your money in a deferred account, but one that's tax-free and not deductible, and it's called a Roth IRA, a Roth 401k. A Roth 403b. All right, now in the booklet, it will go into more detail with you, but I want to help you with this, okay? I'm going to give you a little example. Go to the next, I'm going to go to the next one. I'm not going to get into all the details. Okay, so go to one that says comparing tax treatments, and I'm not doing a tax presentation for you all. I just want you all to be aware that you can get the deduction now, which feels good now, because your taxes are lower, but you're going to pay taxes later when you pull the money out. And then there's a way to put it away in Roth where you pay taxes now, but it grows tax-free. Tax-free is very good. All right? Very, very good. Now, let's talk about this thing, IRA. And I'm going to do a little something here with you. I want to help you all. Edwin, I'm going to need you to do this. Hold this mic for me. All right, I'm going to do a little game with you all. That will help you. All right, so I want to help you all understand something about this IRA, 401k, all this stuff. So I've got a piece of paper here, okay? And what I'm going to do, this is the way I explain all this. I'm going to tear this paper into, trees and paper. I'm going to tear this up into many different little pieces of paper, okay? Now, I'm going to say each of these pieces of paper is a different place that you could save your money. So where are places you could save your money? Just yell them out. Where could you save your money? You can, in a savings account? So I'm going to write SA. Where else can you save your money? Mattress doesn't count. A money market? Okay. A bond? Where else can you see? A mutual fund? Wait, a mutual fund? A CD? Certificate of deposit or certificate of depreciation? Or certainly to be disappointed. Where else? Insurance policy, whole life. I'm putting this over in a different place over here. You knew I was going to do that, okay? But it's there. Where else? Can you save money? An annuity, I heard that earlier. A fixed annuity. No, you can't save your money in a 401k. We're going to cover that in a minute, okay? Now, where can you put your money? You can't put it in a 401k. 401k is a tax law. It's going to be a difference. What? Gold. Commodities, they call gold, silver. I put that in another category called I don't know how it works, I don't understand it, and be careful. And it might be great. Okay, I don't know. Hasn't done so great. Unless you started when it started. And it doesn't qualify for an IRA or 401k or 403b, so it's in a different subject. Cryptocurrency subject is something I don't know about. All right, so where else can you save money? Real estate? Okay. All right, so you got it? Different place to save money. Now, what are the different, so these are the place to save money. This sheet represents the different retirement plans available. So if you'll go, and by the way, you can see traditional IRA, Roth IRA. Go to the next one. Uh-oh. Go to the next one. I'm going to show you. All right, go back. That's another subject. All right, so ready? So where are places that you could, that are qualified plans or plans that the government says we're going to give you tax benefits if you use these things? Now, someone said 401k. That's one of those. What else is there? What? Municipal bond goes back in the other one. That's a place you could put your money. Yes.
Sometimes you tax off of the earnings.
Wait, say it again?
You said Roth. Did you make the comment of tax-free? What did you say?
So what happens with a Roth is your money goes in hold that question. Right now I have a pile of places you could save your money. We added just a municipal bond to it, right? Now I said, what are the different plans retirement plans available for you to use? So I have a 401k. What's like a 401k? 403b. Now 403b is a plan that's available for employees of nonprofit organizations, churches, church employees, pastors, bishops, and all employees that work at churches, public library, the symphony orchestra, the art museum, and all hospitals a lot of times are nonprofit, have this thing called a 403b. It's just like a 401k, but it's for the nonprofit sector. Where else can we save? Let's say you don't work at a company. Where can you save money and get a retirement plan? We're going to call it an IRA, a Roth IRA, a SEP IRA, Simplified Employee Pension, a simple IRA, which is not so simple, but it's a plan for companies. Okay, where a 457 deferred comp. These are all IRS letter rulings. These are all retirement plans. They have different benefits available, generally tax deductible and tax deferred. Meaning you subtract the money from your income that goes in it, and it grows without tax. To be taxed later, other than what? Roth. Roth is the only one, not deductible, but deferred and tax-free. Roth is traditionally, if you went and Googled Roth IRA versus IRA, all the experts are going to say, if you qualify for a Roth, you should use a Roth. If you have a 401k at work, you should see, do they have a Roth 401k at work? If you use a 401k at work and they match, they will pay you. Here, I'm good now. Thank you. Very good. Let's hear it for Edwin. So here's just some advice. If you work at a company where they match, if you put in, they put in, our opinion is you always use the plan that gives you the free money first. You never invest with someone like me until you've used that first. Are you all with me? We're not giving any free money to anybody. They are. You put $1, they put 50 cents in. You want to get all of that you can get, okay? But also, once you've maxed out on that, and you've gotten all the free money, stop.
and start contributing, if you want to keep save in a Roth outside. Okay? Does that make sense? You all got that? Very, very simple. So anybody that's telling you to save money somewhere, but they haven't asked you about your 401, how many of you have a 401k? Do they match? So anybody that ever talks to you about saving money somewhere who hasn't first asked you, are you using your 401k up to the full ability to get the free money, you should avoid that human being. They care about themselves and not you. Okay? Y'all got that? Because they don't have any free money to give you. Just say, do you got free money to give me? If you got free money to give me. And there are insurance agents that will actually convince you that you should save your money in something called an index universal life policy as opposed to using your 401k. There are insurance agents that will teach you to take all of your money out of your 401k and lump sum deposit it into a big whole life policy. Because your $300,000 becomes a $2 million death benefit to your family. And you can pull the money out, borrowing it without any taxes. They'll tell you this. Please avoid these people. Okay? Now, see this tax law? Here's the tax law. I want you to think of it this way. These are the investments where you could save your money. See them? This is the tax law that shelters those investments. This tax law gives these investments different rules and regulations that allow you to grow the money tax deferred and tax efficiently, and in many cases tax deducted because they're under the umbrella of the tax code. So IRA, 401k, 403b, SEP, Simple, all of those, they are not places you save your money. They're the tax code applied to the places you save your money. And the only one that's not in here is that whole life policy because it doesn't qualify for any of these. Okay? So does that help you a little? When I saw that little example, it was the first time, I made a mess every time I do it, but it was the first time that I ever really understood the difference or began to understand the difference. Okay? All right? So, all right, any questions on that? Okay, now I'm going to give you another piece on that. When you leave a job, when you leave your job, there are many options and choices you've got today when you leave. One of those options is if you have a new job, you can take your 401k from the old company and move it to the new company. Okay? The other rule says you could take the 401k money or the 403b money and move it to an IRA. Okay? That's generally what we recommend because you then have control over it. But you've got to look at that individually. But that money gets moved and it goes into what they call an IRA. Now, when you get the IRA, that's just the tax law, right? Now you've got to do what? You've got to choose your investments. And this is where it's very important you have a professional advisor that you trust. That's the single most important thing is that you trust and understand them so they can share with you the different ways to invest. I'm going to get into that a little, but honestly, that's an hour to an hour and a half presentation on its own on a subject called investing. Okay? But we can get started, but we're basically going to, we're going to talk about it briefly here, and I've hit it a little. I'm going to get past the retirement plan stuff, and if you'll just move forward for me. Okay, so here's one of my favorite examples, and by the way, if you're over 45, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here. I don't want you to feel bad, like, oh, they're not dealing with me. I just want you to be aware of the power of understanding this stuff. And your kids need to see this one. When you get your booklet, and by the way, if hard copy, we're going to send you a PDF, but there's also hard copy. And if you meet with Edwin personally, we'll give you a hard copy, all right? Or if you want it, we'll make them available at the church. We can get those for you, okay? But this is an example of the time value of money. Now, I know you can't see this graphic, but here's what I want you to see. Here's the question. When is $44,000 more than $209,000? In the real world, when is it more? Never. Okay. Now, in my example, you're going to see that it is. And it's based on when you start. Now, this is the single most important thing. I show this to every young person I meet. The person on the left, what they did is they started saving $5,500 a year from age 22 to age 29, and then they stopped contributing, and they put no new money in. So at age 29, they stopped putting money in. They let the money sit in their IRA, and that was a total of $44,000 in. That money at 9% grew to $2,030,000. I know you can't see it, but the pile on the left grew to $2,030,000. 22 years old to 29 and stopped. The person on the right, notice what they did the first from age 22 to 29. What'd they do? What'd they put in? See the top there? See those zeros? That's how much they saved. And at 30, they said, I better get serious about this, and they started their IRA. And they started saving their $5,500, and they did it every single year all the way to age 67, and they put in a total of $209,000. And I know you can't see it, but can anybody see what that amount is at the bottom? It says what? $1.8 million. So they put in $209,000 at $1.8 million. This person put in $44,000 at $2 million. How important is that for people to know? Okay, so we teach that. All right, we teach that. We want people to know. Go to the next. Go to the next. Okay, let's dig into mutual funds. Okay, become an owner, not a loaner. Now we talked about this, that when we leave our money at big institutions, we're lending them our money. So what's the option? Go to the next. The option is to take your money, bypass the middlemen, and go into the global economy with your money instead of lending it to them. Go where they go. Go to the next one. So most people say, well, those things are risky. There's risk. Well, one of the things you have to look at is if you put your money in a bank, a CD at the bank, and there's no risk, it's guaranteed. We say the one thing you're guaranteed in this thing generally is a guaranteed loss. Now, why? Well, if you have $10,000 at the bank, and by the way, that says 7%. That's incorrect. It should say 1%. That's a typo in it. And that 10%, banks aren't paying 7%. You all know that, right? So it's 1%. So at the end of the year, on $10,000 invested, 1% is $100. But then you've got to pay taxes. So if you had to pay taxes of 25%, you got to pay $25 in taxes. So you're left with $75. And if inflation's 3%, you've lost $300 in buying power, and your money actually is worth $9,782, even though you made 1%. So we've got to look at what is guaranteed. See, a lot of people go, I don't want risk. Well, do you want to retire? You may have to understand what is risk. It might be riskier not to invest. So we have to understand investing. So go to the next one, please. So it used to be, look, it used to be that we had this three-legged stool called personal savings, Social Security, and company pensions. Today, for the most part, the stool's lost the company pensions. There are very few people that have company pensions anymore. Teachers still have company pensions, right? I was once asked the question, why don't they teach money in school? And we think that one of the reasons that they don't teach money in schools, teachers don't have to worry about money because they've got pensions. If you took their pensions away, they'd be learning all about investing in money and they'd be teaching everybody, all right? We don't want them to do that. Our teachers deserve what they get, but that's part of the problem. So let's go to the next one. So we say don't just save, invest. Now, let me give you an example. What we've got is the example of $10,000 invested in 1987, leaving that money there till December 31st, 2017. And if you've done that in the S&P 500, which we talked about earlier, that 500 index, that money's worth $210,000. It's averaged 10.69%. If you invested in bonds, which is a debt instrument where you're lending money to either the government or to a corporation, and they in turn are giving you, for you lending them money, they're giving you your money back with interest. That's a bond. That averaged $63,000. The T-bills, that was 6%. T-bills are at 3% at $24,000. Inflation's averaged 2.56. So we need to understand that there are places, if we're willing to put money long term, that can dramatically change the amount of money we have. And the S&P 500 is an index. It's unmanaged. In other words, they pick those 500 stocks, and then at the next year they look at 500. Some come in and some go out, but there's no management of it. So let's go to the next subject, which is using professional money managers. What's the benefit of using professional money managers? I'm not a professional money manager. Okay, I'm an advisor. Professional money managers are the guys and gals who watch the money. They're the investment people. So when you give your money to a bank, they've got a whole group of people that are that are analysts and money managers that make decisions of where to invest the money. Well, we as small investors can do something called a mutual fund. If you'll go to, oh, here it is. So how does a mutual fund work? Individual investors pool their money together, give that money to professional managers, and then go into the global economy with our money. Now, let me give you an example. Let's just say right now you wanted to invest. Have you ever heard the statement, don't put all your eggs in one? Okay. So if you put all your money in Enron, remember Enron? What happened to all your money? gone. If you put all your money in Citigroup, now it's come back some, but almost gone, okay? So you got to understand, when you put your money in one company, everything's fine. WorldCom is another example. Everything's fine unless something happens to that company. Like Elon Musk made some announcement about something and got in trouble, and all of a sudden, if you own Tesla, which was the darling of Wall Street, you lost, I don't know what the percentage loss is, but it's been pretty dramatic, right? Risky. And Elon Musk, I mean, he's sending people to Mars, I think, okay? So we can't, regardless of how good it looks, we got to diversify. So if you had $100, if you had the ability to take $100 and go down to the local mall, is there a mall right near here? And you went to the local mall, every one of those companies in the mall is probably a publicly traded company, meaning you could buy the stock of that company. All right? So you go to any strip mall right now, you go to any shopping center and you see the stores, like every city's got the same stores in them. Do you ever notice that anymore? They're everywhere. You always see a Walmart. You always see a Walgreens, right? The same companies all the time, right? McDonald's is everywhere. Wendy's is everywhere. Burger King's everywhere. The same companies are everywhere, all right? So these are publicly traded companies. Well, go to the mall and take $1, take your $100 to invest, and if you could put $1 in each, let's say there was 100 different stores in the mall, you put $1 in each store, and you own one share for $1, you have $100 invested in 100 different stores. If Sears went bankrupt, which, by the way, I think it did, okay? But if it did, how much did you lose? $1. But if Apple comes out with iPhone 50, you might have made $2, right? So what's happening is you've spread your money out amongst all those stores. Now, here's what the professional money managers do. They have the ability to see that Sears is in trouble, and what they do is they say, we're getting rid of Sears because they're in trouble. We don't want your money there. We're going to replace Sears with something else. That's what the professional money managers do. And we are not involved in that. We give our money to them based on their track record, based on their fees and expenses. We evaluate that, and then they manage it. Those are the funds that have averaged 10, 11, and 12% for 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 years. The professional money managers manage it. Companies like Fidelity, companies like the American Funds, companies like Franklin Templeton or Invesco or Legg Mason or Vanguard. These are all mutual fund companies. Have you all heard of those names? Now, some of them work with brokers and some of them are called, quote, no load. No load is good if you are the person that's watching them all the time, because you're not going to get any help. It's no load, no help, no advice. And your service is a 1-800 line. When you have a broker, you're basically paying a little extra to have somebody available to you at all times to speak to. That's the value of a broker, all right? So let's go to the next one. But you've got to be aware of fees. You've got to pay attention to fees. If you had $300,000 in an investment, and it was, let's say, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say it was in a variable annuity, and I'm not going to get into the details of that, but that's a retirement. Now, a variable annuity is an insurance company where you have mutual funds protected by the wrapper of an insurance company. And what you do is you pay extra fees for benefits. What those benefits are guaranteed paychecks. So for those of us that have now accumulated some money and we don't want the market to correct and ruin our portfolio or our income, generally when you're ready to retire, it's not how much money you have that's important. It's the monthly income your money will provide you. And what are retirees most concerned with? What's their number one concern? Outliving their money. Number one concern. So what if my money runs out? All right? So the annuity companies, what they do is they say this amount of money will generate this monthly paycheck to you and your spouse for the rest of your life, guaranteed no matter what. Okay? You all got that? And you pay for that. You pay extra. But you're paying extra for a benefit. You would not do it if you don't need that benefit. If you were parachuting, an example would be, if any of you ever gone parachuting? I've never gone parachuting. I have zero interest in doing it, okay? Okay, and the reason I don't want to do it is because I've heard people sometimes don't come back. So what if you were going to go parachuting and they say, look, it's $500 for the parachuting trip. And you say, well, what's the chance that like the chute won't open? Oh, a very small chance. That rarely happens. I mean, maybe like, I don't know, 1 in 100,000 jumps, okay? Now, if you're concerned with that, for an extra $200, we can guarantee the chute opens. Would you pay? How many of you would then do it and pay the extra 200? Yeah, I don't want to be the one out of the, right? So that's a variable annuity. That's what it does. It gives you the guarantee of the paycheck, and you pay for that, all right? You know, I don't like fees. All right, do you like guarantees? If you don't want the guarantee, don't pay the, all right, you all with me? All right. Last piece of this. Most of us invest based on the headlines. The news media creates hysteria. And when times are good, like right now, we've had a 9-year run of great market after 2 of the worst years we've ever had. And in 2002, a few years before that, we had down. So people like got out of the market in 2008 and have missed the whole run up. And now they're sick and tired of hearing about all the people that made all their money in the market during these 9 years. And now the uninformed investor is going in right now. And do you know what a lot of the very wealthy people that have accumulated a lot of money are doing? They're getting out, or they're going into safer havens. Okay? I'm going to recommend that if you're young, you stop worrying about whether the market's up or down, and you understand this concept called dollar cost averaging. So we're almost done for today, but dollar cost averaging is very important. We're going to use an example of investor A and B. And in this scenario, y'all just hang with me for, I've gone over my limit, so this we're almost done. Investor A is investing $100 a month for 6 months. Investor B is investing $100 a month for 6 months in a mutual fund. At the end of 6 months, they're cashing in. They're taking their money out. Now, that's not what we do with mutual funds, but in this example, that's what's happening. So, Investor A starts, and it's $10 a share. Investor B starts, it's $10 a share. So they both invested $100 at $10 a share. How many shares did they buy? $10 into 100 is 10. They bought 10 shares. Okay? The next month, Investor A, the stock, the price went up. And they bought, and they went up and bought and bought and bought and bought. And finally, in that 6th month, it was $20 a share. Okay? Now, Investor B bought and went immediately, just their luck, it went down immediately, went down, down, down. It actually got down to $2 a share. And then it finally got back at the end of 6 months to $10 a share. So they both invested $600, and they both did it for 6 months, and they both sell. Who has more money? What do you think the typical obvious answer is? How many of you would say A? You're probably not going to raise your hand because you know I'm up to something, but right? Okay, so who had more money is Investor B. Because Investor B has more shares. Let's go to the next slide. Here's what happened. During that, if you'll just go to the next one. During that period, Investor A bought 10 shares, then 8 shares, then 7 shares, then 6 shares, 5, and at the end had 42 shares. 42 times $20 is $840. They put in 600 and got out 840. Happy, right? Investor B, the market went down, got 14 shares, 25 shares. When that was $2 a share, they got 50 shares. Then it went up to 16, 10, and they end up with 126 shares. And at $10 a share, what is that? 1,260. So who has more money? B. But there's nothing logical about that to us. Now, here's what I want you all to know. When I saw that as a young man, 23, and I first saw that, and I got in the business, I had no idea what that meant. It sounded good. I could not comprehend this concept. It was like a year before I finally got it. So what I want you to understand is, at the end of the day, you pick an amount of money you want to accumulate. We call it a financial independence number. You find out what would it take, what would I have to invest every month to reach that goal. You get a diversified portfolio of mutual funds, professionally managed. You use the tax laws to your favor. And you invest every single month, month in and month out, for however long you want to until you hit your retirement date and you hit that goal. And what's going to happen is the market's going to go up and it's going to do what? Go down. And you're going to be buying every single month, and when the market's down, you're buying everything on sale. Best day to buy a Christmas card, if you want to buy it cheap, would be when? Day after Christmas. So why, when the market goes down, is everybody getting out? The smart people are all getting in. Everything's on sale. Because it's cheap, it's down. You're buying more of it. And if you're investing for the long haul, history tells us that the companies out there are going to make money. Look, Procter & Gamble, what do they make? They make toothpaste? Any of you going to stop brushing your teeth even if the market's bad? I hope not, right? Shaving, toilet paper, any of you going to quit using it? I hope not. You drive cars, or we're going to stop driving cars? Look, we're going to be consumers of goods and services, and companies that can produce those goods and services for our use better than other people are going to be profitable, or they're going to go out of business. And if you own shares in those companies, you are going to make money long range. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so last slide really for today is, so the 3 Ds of investing. 3 Ds. The 3 Ds are very important. Number one is understanding dollar cost averaging, month in and month out. Don't pick. Don't time. You don't need to look at the headlines. You need to buy good money managers that have a good track record at a reasonable expense rates. Discipline. Do it month in and month out, long range, and diversify. Spread your money out. And you do that by buying small companies, medium-sized companies, large companies. International companies as well, all over the world. And you can buy bonds, stocks, real estate, cash, small, medium, large companies, all over the world, international companies. You can own them in mutual funds. You can have 4 or 5 or 6 mutual funds and have every kind of investment that's out there. As long as you dollar cost average over time, you're going to beat all these people that have all these fancy ideas of buy and sell and all that. And I guess some of them work, but we know for a fact this works. And that's what we teach. All right? Okay. Go to the last one. I think that was pretty much, you could do it. Go ahead to the next one. And that is the basics of our meeting for today. Okay? So any questions before we go? Well, we'll be having one at our office for those that are our agents very quickly. Now, honestly, if you're interested and intrigued in all this, this is the stuff. I did a meeting in Gainesville last night. It's the same meeting from our agents. I practiced for today, okay? This is the stuff we talk about, and then, we teach people how to help families and do it in a professional way, and so that's one answer. The next answer is see the bishop. I'll come back, okay? I'll come back. This is awesome to me. I'm just happy to help, and if we could be of help to you, we'd love to be able to help you. I think that for some of you, here's what you need to know. If you fill out the form that we've got, do we have the forms? Can you just pass them out? Do not feel pressured in any way whatsoever to turn them back in. Turn them back in if you'd like to, okay? We're going to send you the book anyway. If you want to talk to us further, please fill this out. Let us know what interests you. And then if you have some referrals for us, we'd love that. And then we'll give them to, maybe we'll leave them on the table, or we can hand them back into Edwin. And then we'll contact you to meet with you to do a written plan. What we provide for families is we do a written plan called a financial needs analysis. That financial needs analysis is complimentary. There's no charge. So you're saying, if I'm retired, what do? You do a needs analysis. It's for people accumulating money, people 5 years from retirement, or people in retirement, and it looks at everything. It assesses where you are, maps out where you want to go, and then we look to see where are you spending money you could save. Okay? And that's the financial needs analysis. And if we do one of those for you, there's no obligation on that. But we know that if we can help you, we'd love to earn your business. So that's the way we do that. Okay? So that's that form. All right, and then, Bishop, I'm happy we want to set something up a couple months out, the beginning of the year. I will gladly come back, but we'd ask if you're going to come back, you bring somebody with you. All right? And we'll do the same thing again, and maybe we'll stay and do a little more on investing and do like an investment seminar, maybe with a smaller group after. But this was my first time doing this actual meeting with the book, so I hope it was helpful for you all. All right, any other questions? All right, well, thank you all. Have a blessed and wonderful day. Thanks.